Hello, Pizza Pax here, and we're back with our fourth and final Commander Legends Dungeons & Dragons Battle for Baldur's Gate Commander deck. This one is Red-Blue Draconic Dissent. We have all the Dargans. So let's see what's in here. As with most recent ones, this comes with 9 counters, as you can see, and a divider on the clamshell. Great. Let's put that away. And in the deck box, which is themed with our Dargan, although not always the best adhered, we have things and stuff. Let's see, we have the little spacer, which can be recycled. We themed 40 life double-sided spin down. And insert our collector's booster sample pack, which we'll open those in a separate video. And our deck. In the insert, we have a little blurb on the deck, name of the deck, overview of the rules for Commander, nice little portrait of the face Commander, and then we have a little bio on the face Commander, another nice little picture, ad for Friday Night Magic, and an ad for Secret Lair. Right. Now that is out of the way, we can get into the deck itself. All right. Those that know me in person know I love the Dargans. In fact, it's the mascot of my alma mater. But, all right. The face Commander, we have Crag, Cunning Instigator. 3, a blue and a red. For a 3/3 legendary dragon with flying and haste, whenever one or more dragons you control attack an opponent, goad target creature that player controls. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to one of your opponents, that creature had to attack this combat, put a +1/+1 counter on Crag, Cunning Instigator, and you draw a card. Nice. All right, we've got Baloth Baratil, Entertainer, a 4 and a red for a 2/5 legendary elf shaman. Creatures your opponents control with power less than Baloth, or less than this power, are goaded. They attack each combat if able, and attack a player other than you if able. Whenever a goaded creature whenever goaded attacking or blocking creature dies, you create a treasure token. Choose a background. Background for Baloth is Clan Crafter. 1 in a blue, legendary enchantment background. Commander creatures you own have 2, sacrifice an artifact, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature, and draw a card. Alright, now into the deck itself. This one is a little warped, it seems. It's interesting. I don't normally see the whole deck have curve in it like that. It's a little strange. But we have Psychic Impetus. 2 in a blue, Enchantment Aura, Enchant Creature. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and is goaded. Whenever enchanted creature attacks, you scry 2. Shiny Impetus. You have 2 in a red, Enchantment Aura, Enchant Creature. Enchanted creature has +2/+2 and is goaded. Whenever enchanted creature attacks, you create a treasure token. Arcane Signet, mana rock for your commander's color identity for 2. Burnished Heart. That's such an adorable version of that card. 3 mana 2/2 artifact creature Elk. 3 mana sacrifice Burnished Heart. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards. Put them onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Mind Stone. 2 mana mana rock. or 2-mana artifact, taps for colorless, 1 tap and sacrifice it, draw a card. Wayfarer's Bauble, 1-mana artifact, 2 tap and sacrifice it, search your library for a basic land, put it onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Command Tower, we all know what this does. Compulsive Research, 2 and a blue sorcery, target player draws 3 cards, then that player discards 2 cards unless they discard a land card. Curse of Verbosity, 2 and a blue, it's got Curse Guy on it. 2 and a blue, enchantment or a curse, enchant player. Whenever enchanted player is attacked, you draw a card. Each opponent attacking that player does the same. Propaganda, the original Ghostly Prison. Everyone remembers Ghostly Prison. No one remembers Propaganda for some reason. But this was one of my favorite cards during the Wrath cycle. I can't remember if this came out in Tempest or Stronghold though. Might have been Exits, but I'm pretty sure it was either Tempest or Stronghold. I don't remember. The original art has Volrath kind of taunting Karn, who's in a prison cell, or almost looks like a zoo kind of thing. But 2 and a blue enchantment. Creatures can't attack you unless their controller pays 2 for each creature they control that's attacking you. Curse of Opulence. Single red for an artifact, for a enchantment or a curse. Enchant player. Whenever enchanted player is attacked, create a gold token. Each opponent attacking that player does the same. A gold token is an artifact with sacrifice this artifact. Add 1 mana of any color. It's basically like a lotus petal. Sprite Dragon. Blue-red, 1/1 fairy dragon with flying and haste. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Excuse me. Bloodthirsty Blade, 2-mana artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +2/+0 and is goaded. For 1, attach Bloodthirsty Blade to target creature an opponent controls. Activate only as a sorcery. You'll notice this doesn't actually have a way of equipping other than attaching it, which is interesting. Felwar Stone, 2-mana artifact, tap for 1 mana of any color, an opponent of any color that a land an opponent controls could produce. Hedron Archive, 4-mana artifact, tap for 2 colorless, 2 tap and sacrifice it, draw 2 cards. Is it Signet? It's the blue-red Signet. Soul Ring, we know what that does. Talisman of Creativity, it's the blue-red Talisman. So it taps for colorless, and then you can tap for a blue or red, and it deals 2 damage to you. Ash Barrens, taps for colorless, and has basic land cycling for 1. Is it Boiler Works? It's the blue-red Karu, or Bounce Land is another name for it. When it comes into play, you return a land you control to its owner's hand, and it comes into play tapped. Myriad Landscape, enters the battlefield tapped. Taps for a colorless, 2 tap and sacrifice it. Search the library for up to 2 basic lands that share a type. Put them onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Path of Ancestry, enters tapped. Taps for your commander's color identity. And if you use that to cast a creature that shares a creature type with your commander, you scry 1. Prismari Campus. This is part of the campus cycle from Strixhaven. They all enter the battlefield tapped. This one taps for a blue or a red, and then 4 and tap it, you can scry 1. Reliquary Tower, no max hand size, and you can tap it for colorless. Temple of the False Gods, taps for 2 if you have 5 or more lands. Terrain Generator, I always love this card. Taps for a colorless, 2 and tap it, you can put a basic land from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. We have a Lone Island for some reason. And there's Artificer class. It is a enchantment class, so it has the level up mechanic similar to I can't remember the actual name of the original mechanic that it may have just been level up. But for 1 and a blue, you get an enchantment class. It starts at level 1. First artifact spell you cast each turn costs 1 less to cast. Then level 2, which is 1 and a blue. when it becomes level 2, reveal the top cards of your library until you reveal an artifact card. Put that card into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Then 5 in a blue, go to level 3. At the beginning of your end step, create a token that's a copy of target artifact you control. Astral Dragon. This has some really fun infinite combos. Put 6 blue for 4/4 dragon with flying and project image. When it enters the battlefield, create 2 tokens that are copies of target non-creature permanent, except they're 3/3 dragon creatures in addition to their other types, and they have flying. So, for instance, you can use this with, there's a red artifact that enters the battlefield as a copy of target permanent, except that it's an artifact instead. And that goes infinite with this. Mocking Doppelganger. 3 in a blue for a 0/0 shapeshifter with flash. We have it enter the battlefield as a copy of a creature an opponent controls, except it has other creatures with the same name as this creature are goaded. That's pretty great. Bothersome Quasit? Not familiar with that word. 2 in a red for a 3/2 demon with menace. Goaded creatures your opponents control can't block. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, goad target creature an opponent controls. Death Kiss. 5 in a red for a 5/5 beholder. Whenever a creature an opponent controls attacks one of your opponents, double its power until end of turn. XX red, monstrosity X. When it becomes monstrous, goad up to X target creatures your opponents control. Loot Dispute. 3 in a red enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, you take the initiative and create a treasure token. Whenever you attack the player who has the initiative, create a treasure token. Loud Ruckus. Whenever you complete a dungeon, create a 5/5 red dragon creature token with flying. I wonder why this doesn't see... Well, I mean, I could kind of see why this doesn't see as much play in Legacy, but I don't think I've ever seen it actually played in Legacy, and that seems like a good card for Legacy. Spectacular Showdown. 1 in a red, sorcery, put a double strike counter on target creature, then goad each creature that has, or that had a double strike counter put on it this way. And then it has overload for red. Okay. That's neat. Huh. Aether Gale. 3 blue, sorcery, returns 6 target non-land permanents to their owner's hands. Angler Turtle. 5 blue for a 5/7 turtle with hexproof. Creatures your opponents control attack each combat if able. Curse of the Swine. X blue. Exile X target creatures. For each creature exiled this way, its controller creates a 2/2 green boar creature token. Dissipation Field. 2 blue enchantment. Whenever a permanent deals damage to you, return it to its owner's hand. Domineering Will. 3 in a blue. For an instant, target player gains control of up to 3 target non-attacking creatures until end of turn. Untap those creatures. They block this turn if able. Keiga the Tide Star. This was one of my favorite cards during Champions of Kamigawa. 5 in a blue for a 5/5 legendary dragon spirit with flying. When it dies, gain control of target creature. Midnight Clock. 2 in a blue for an artifact that taps for a blue, and then 2 in a blue, put an hour counter on it. At the beginning of each upkeep, put an hour counter on Midnight Clock. When the 12th hour counter is put on Midnight Clock, shuffle your hand and graveyard into your library, then draw 7 cards. Exile Midnight Clock. So something that's really fun to do with this is make copies of it. Just a thought. Pursued Whale. 5 blue for an 8/8 whale. When it enters the battlefield, each opponent creates a 1/1 red pirate creature token with this creature can't block, and creatures you control attack each turn if able. Spells your opponents cast at target pursued whale cost 3 more to cast. That is a fun one. Reigns of Power. 2 blue, instant, untap all creatures you control and all creatures target opponent controls. You and that opponent each gain control of all creatures the other controls until end of turn. Those creatures gain haste until end of turn. This is a lot of fun, especially if you don't have any creatures. Sly Instigator. 3 and a blue for a 2/4 human wizard. Blue and tap until your next turn. Target creature and opponent controls can't be blocked. Goad that creature. Will Kenrith. Let's see, 4 blue for a legendary planeswalker Will with 4 loyalty counters. +2 target, or until your next turn, up to 2 target creatures each have base power and toughness 0/3 and lose all abilities. -2 target player draws 2 cards. Until your next turn, instant, sorcery, and planeswalker spells that player casts cost 2 less to cast. Interesting. -8 target player gets an emblem with whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, copy it. You may choose new targets for the copy. Partner with Rowan Kenrith. Will Kenrith can be your commander. So this is an alternate set of commanders that you can have. All right. Huh. Wonder why. I wonder where the other one is. Agitator Ant. 2 and a red for a 2/2 insect. At the beginning of your end step, each player may put 2 +1/+1 counters on a creature they control. Goad each creature that had counters put on it this way. The Crow in War. 3 and a red for a 3-chapter saga. Chapter 1, gain control of target creature for as long as the Crow in War remains on the battlefield. Chapter 2, until your next turn, creatures your opponents control attack each combat of Fable. Chapter 3, each tapped creature deals damage to itself equal to its power. Avatar of Slaughter. 6 red for an 8/8 avatar. All creatures have double strike and attack each combat if able. Well, that'll make things interesting. Blasphemous Act. 8 and a red for sorcery. It costs 1 less for each creature on the battlefield. It deals 13 damage to each creature. Brash Taunter. Oh, it's got its own version of Stuffy Doll combo. That's funny. Brash Taunter. 4 and a red for a 1/1 creature goblin. Indestructible. Whenever it is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to target opponent. 2 and a red, tap. Brash Taunter fights another target creature. And then it has the flavor text of, "You hit like a kobold." Chain Reaction. 2 red for sorcery. Deals X damage to each creature where X is the number of creatures on the battlefield. Very nice. Chaos Dragon. It's 1 red for 4/4 dragon with flying and haste. It attacks each combat of Fable. At the beginning of combat on your turn, each player rolls a d20. If one or more opponents has the highest result, Chaos Dragon can't attack those players or planeswalkers they control this combat. Good old Chaos Warp. 2 and a red, instant. The owner of target permanent shuffles it into their library, then reveals the top card of their library. If it's a permanent card, they put it onto the battlefield. This used to be so much better when you could tuck commanders with it. Disrupt Decorum. 2 red, sorcery. Goad all creatures you don't control. That's a good one. Dracoseth, Maul of Flames. 4 red for 7/7 legendary creature dragon with flying. Whenever it attacks, it deals 4 damage to any target and 3 damage up to each of up to 2 other targets. So it was a fun reanimation target a few years ago. Geode Rager. 4 red for 4/3 elemental with first strike. Landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, go to each creature target player controls. Very nice. Goblin Spymaster. Sneaky, sneaky. I don't know why that reminds me of the butler from Mr. Deeds, but it does. Goblin Spymaster, 2 and a red for 2/1 Goblin Rogue with first strike. At the beginning of each opponent's end step, that creature or that player creates a 1/1 red Goblin creature token with creatures you control attack each combat if able. Kazul, Tyrant of the Cliffs, 3 red for a 5/4 legendary ogre warrior. I am remembering all these great references. Ogres? I have an ogre slaying knife. That's +9 against ogres. If you know what that's from, leave a comment down below. Whenever a creature an opponent controls attacks, if you're the defending player, create a 3/3 red ogre creature token, unless that creature's controller pays 3. Rowan Kenrith. 4 red for a legendary planeswalker Rohan. That starts with 4 loyalty. +2, during target player's next turn, each creature that player controls attacks if able. -2, deals 3 damage to each tapped creature target player controls. -8, target player gets an emblem with, whenever you activate an ability that isn't a mana ability, copy it, you may choose new targets for the copy. Partner with Will Kenrith, and it can be your commander. Ryusei, the Falling Star. Arguably the worst of the original 5 dragons from Kamigawa, but still one of my favorites. I love the whole cycle. The one I used the least was actually Jugen, which is the green one, which is arguably one of the better ones on its own. But 5 and a red for a 5/5 legendary dragon spirit with flying. When it dies, it deals 5 damage to each creature without flying. Territorial Hellkite, 2 red for a 6/5 dragon with flying and haste. Holy crap, a 6/5 for 4. That is a rate. At the beginning of combat on your turn, choose an opponent at random that Territorial Hellkite didn't attack during your last combat. It attacks that player this combat if able. If you can't choose an opponent this way, tap Territorial Hellkite. Alright, then we have Thunder Dragon. 5 red for a 5/5 dragon with flying. When it enters the battlefield, it deals 3 damage to each creature without flying. Vengeful Ancestor, 2 red for a 3/4 spirit dragon with flying. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, goad target creature. Whenever a goaded creature attacks, it deals 1 damage to its controller. Okay, so this is... wow. That works really well with all the other goad stuff in the deck. Warmonger Hellkite. 4 red for a 5/5 dragon with flying. All creatures attack each combat if able. 1 and a red, attacking creatures get +1/+0 until the end of turn. Wow. There's some really good stuff in here. Niv Mizzet Perun. Blue, red. For a 5/5 legendary creature, Dragon Wizard. The spell can't be countered. Flying. Whenever you draw a card, it deals 1 damage to any target. Whenever a player casts an instant or sorcery spell, you draw a card. This plus Curiosity is just a win. Just fun. Let's see, Dragon's Horde. 3 mana artifact. Whenever a dragon enters the battlefield under your control, put a gold counter on Dragon's Horde. Tap, remove a gold counter from Dragon's Horde. Draw a card. Tap, add 1 mana of any color. That is a fantastic mana rock in this instance. Solemn Simulacrum. 4 mana 2/2 artifact creature golem. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a basic land, put it on the battlefield tap, then shuffle, and when it dies, you may draw a card. Steel Hellkite. I have very fond memories of running this in workshops back in the day. Well, I shouldn't say back in the day. Like, about 10 years ago. It was in my workshops and mud control decks. And stacks and Uba stacks. I played it in a lot of decks. Steel Hellkite, 6 mana 5/5 artifact creature dragon with flying. For 2 colorless, it gets +2/+0 and or for 2 generic, sorry, not colorless. That actually has a different meaning now. It gets +2 or +1/+0 until end of turn. And then X, destroy each non-land permanent with mana value X whose controller was dealt combat damage by Steel Hellkite this turn. Activate only once each turn. Stuffy Doll. So this goes along with the other thing. It's fun. And with Blasphemous Act, which that's always just a fun combo to pull off. 5 mana 0/1 artifact creature construct with indestructible. When it enters the battlefield, choose a player. Whenever Stuffy Doll is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to the chosen player. Tap, Stuffy Doll deals 1 damage to itself. We have Castle Vantress. Enters the battlefield tapped unless you control an island. Taps for blue. 2 blue, tapped, scry 2. Desolate Lighthouse. This used to be played heavily in Splinter Twin as a utility land to help you find your combo. Taps for colorless. 1 blue and a red. Tap, draw a card, then discard a card. Keep. Actually used to use this in a couple of polymorph strategies, which was a lot of fun. But legendary land, taps for colorless, 1 and a red, tap, create a 0/1 red kobold creature token named Kobolds of Keep. And in Legends, there was actually 3 different kobolds that were all 0-drop, 0/1 red creatures, which is what this is referencing. This was originally in Time Spiral, by the way. Temple of Epiphany, blue-red temple. Wandering Fumarole. This is the blue-red manland from Battle for Zendikar, if I remember correctly. Enters the battlefield tapped, taps for a blue or red. 2 blue-red until end of turn. It becomes a 1/4 blue and red elemental creature with 0. Switch this creature's power and toughness until end of turn. It's still a land. We have some islands. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And there was an island earlier, so that's 12. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 mountains. Then we have Fur Crag, Cunning Instigator, the little thickened standee. We have our initiative counter with the Undercity on the back. We have some pirates that can't block, and creatures you control attack each combat of Fable. On the backside, we have goblins that do the same thing, except these can't block. Sneaky, sneaky. Sneaky, sneaky. We have two boars that are also 3/3 ogres. There are kobolds of Keep. There's a treasure on the back. Gold, which is a 5/5 flying dragon on the back. We have emblems for Will Kenrith and Rowan Kenrith that are copy tokens on the back. Very nice. And then turn reminder. And that is our Dargans, or Draconic Dissent, which is a very cool goad deck. Like, there's only a few tweaks that I can think of adding into this, but this is just probably one of the coolest precons I've seen in a very long time. I would be willing to sleeve this up and play Commander, which says a lot, because I'm not a fan of Commander. So, but as always, thank you for joining me on this adventure in the Forgotten Realms, seeking out Baldur's Gate, or, running up to the battle for Baldur's Gate, I guess. As always, don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe. It is the best way to help out the channel. Or you could, watch another video. That works too. And those are the best ways to help out the channel in a non-monetary fashion. If you'd like to also help out in a monetary fashion, we do have a Patreon. It is linked in our About page. Gives you access to some really cool stuff and helps sponsor our videos. So yeah, check that out if that interests you. If not, that's cool too. But as always, until next time, stay awesome, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.